Hey there, Alexander. How you doing, man?
What's going on, Mark? Good to be here on the air with you again.
Yeah, back to Ohio exopolitics, man.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a long time since we talked.
It,
I don't
it
know
it
why.
does feel like a while. It actually feels like too long. Did you miss me? Is that why?
I missed you. I guess I missed
I
you.
think that's what I think that's what it was.
So, just to reorient myself,
Mm-hmm.
you're living up in the mountains of New Mexico,
Yeah, I'm,
right?
I'm in they call it the high desert over here, living in Santa Fe. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Is it hot, hot, or is it?
No, no, you gotta remember I'm at 7,600 feet up,
Oh,
so
wow. So it's cool.
yeah, it gets pretty warm, but
Yeah.
not like crazy.
It has been blazing hot here. I
Yikes.
mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like this morning, I thought we were really switching to fall, but shoot, a couple hours passed, blue skies and super hot.
Yep, it's the good old Indian summer they call it, right?
Yeah. And by the way, I knew you would want to know Peaches laying
Mm-hmm.
on a cushion on the front porch up there with his mother. We have a
Great.
cat family here.
Yeah. That's
I
great
probably
to
told you
hear.
that.
That's literally great to hear.
Anyway, I played another outside market in Zanesville yesterday.
Very cool.
Me and my buddy got about $60 worth of tips on top of our regular fee, which is cool. And just to kind of let you know, I play a nylon string guitar
Hmm.
through a Bose system. And what I've done is I've created some fingerstyle guitar arrangements for music like ZZ Top, Led Zeppelin, Leonard Skinner, Metallica more. Most people really like the Metallica.
Yeah, it sounds so good when you put it on nylon.
Yeah, it just sounds so good.
Hmm.
But anyway, my buddy plays along with the American Indian wood flute. Yeah. Have you heard of wood flute
Oh,
before?
absolutely. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
You can get a good
So
one for about 250, $300.
they're all in minor keys, right? You
Yeah.
can't get you can't get a major key.
Not that I know of, but they're just
Yeah.
such a distinct sound.
They're nice. He's good too. He's a good singer too.
You
So
know,
we do a lot of flamenco. We do a lot of stuff. People are really responding. It's very encouraging.
it's too bad like more of the population doesn't try to be musical. It's a great expression of a human being, music.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, it
I mean,
is.
good
It is.
harmonious music that is, not just,
Mm-hmm.
dog shit, frankly, if I'm going to put it that way. And there's a lot of crap out there, but
Yes.
it's a great, great expression of the internal self through sound. It's awesome. And I
The
wish more people would practice it.
the internal self. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, if you think about it, like when you go to choose a song,
Mm-hmm.
you choose what you're feeling, right? Most of the
Sure.
time. Good. So the song, the sounds will be an internal reflection of your current state of being at that point. And then, over the course of time, say you start to compose your own stuff. Well, now it's a culmination of all of these energies and all of this experience being expressed through rhythm and sound itself, which is really, really cool.
Mm.
You
You
know,
make some good points there.
there was a yeah, thanks. There was some old German composer pieces like songs without words,
Well,
which
my buddy,
go
he
ahead.
does some strange stuff. Like I'll do have you heard the song One by Metallica?
Yeah, of course.
Well, you know what he does? Like I'll be playing that on the classical and he sometimes will sing in the background
Hmm.
poetry that's in German or French or a French,
Whatever
but
it
it's
is,
very
yeah.
very interesting or from France or
Does it work though?
it does.
Yeah, that
And
would.
I don't know how he does it, how he pulls it off, but it does.
He feels it. He feels it. Like I said, it's an expression, like painting. Music
Yeah.
is a fan. It's I think music, good harmonious music, is an even better expression than painting in some respects because a lot of painting now you start to see it, but many paintings are impressionist or sort of new age or Jackson Pollock bullshit, where people are just like throwing paint at a canvas. If you can paint something that looks so real, right, or draw it that looks so real, that's hard to determine that it is, a painting in itself and it wasn't generated by some sort of computer or taken as photography. I consider that real art. Why? Because someone is actively capturing the perfect reflection of reality outside of them, and they're moving it through themselves and using their own skill base to mirror that thing on canvas. That to me is real art.
Oh, I agree.
See what I'm saying?
But yeah, you were making a point about music though.
Yeah, you know, like
And the, go
music
ahead.
as a composition and an expression of the self, right? And like I said, there's, you know, some old classical songs, composer called like Songs Without Words. You look it up, you'll know the composer. But the idea here is that so much can be said and expressed without us actually having to talk. And with music,
yeah. And sorry to interrupt you.
You're good.
But the thing of it is, a lot of what we want to express, we don't have adequate words for.
Precisely. But what happens when you have an entire symphony of sound coming together to encapsulate a feeling or an image in the mind or an expression of something that you're trying to say, right?
Right. Exactly. And it would take you half an hour to say the same thing that was said in 5 or 6 notes, right?
Absolutely, right? If that can be captured, what was trying to be the feeling that was trying to be shared can legitimately be felt and sensed by the other party, you know, just through the sound itself.
Now, I don't, you know, it's interesting, these side tangents. I really think they're sometimes as important as the actual stuff.
I love tangents. I love them.
And you're getting ready for a new stage of your life right now. I think your wife pregnant.
100%. Yep. 100%. You know, for me, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I recently talked to a buddy of mine who's raised, I think, 4 kids, and they're out of the house and everything, grown and doing their own thing. And you know, I can remember me and him talking, and he would always say, "I'm never going to have kids."
Yeah. You know, many people say that, and in my case, you know, with me and Amanda, for us, it was what is the right time? Are we evolved enough? Are we aware enough? Are we responsible enough to have children? That was the question. It wasn't a function of, oh, we're never going to have them. It was coming to the determination that we were both there at the right time and ready to actually raise another human being on this planet. Because we know there's a shitload of them in droves, 9.5 billion, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of people taking a shit every day. So for us, we're like, okay, you know, if you're gonna raise a kid, 1, can you support it? And 2, will you give it all the foundational material and love and everything else it needs to grow into a truly good human being, for what we'd say is good in the nature of what it means to be a human being. And when we agreed upon that, then that was it. Like, that's the time, and we should have a child. And it's a fantastic character development for both of us too, because it tests you.
Do you think that children force you to evolve in a sense?
Well, no. So think about this. Me and Amanda came together choosing to have the child, right? So with that, we're making the choice to evolve. And because of our choice, something else gets to evolve from it too, which is a really cool cause and effect.
Right.
Now, having the child inside, and when the child comes out, that child will then act as a catalyst. And will also put us into situations that are non-normative to us, things we don't usually do because we've never had a child. So because of that, it's going to give us novel scenarios for things that we have to learn from, right? And we will explicitly be able to see the child and what the child is doing, and then learn from that, and then over time take that knowledge and use it as an implicit understanding without us having to actually be like, here's X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, we can manage and evolve our life with this implicit knowledge because of these external explicit experiences that we're getting from having this child with us. It's really, really cool. So the child gets to evolve, and we also get to evolve.
Now, you mentioned implicit versus explicit.
Sure, 2 different types of knowledge.
Okay, can you elaborate a little more on
that?
It's
the topic's a little deep. I wouldn't say I'm like super well read on it. But when you're talking about explicit knowledge, you go out, you measure something, you swing a hammer, you know what the exact effect is, correct?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So in this explicit experience of going out and doing something and having an intended outcome, right, you know what's going to occur. Now, With implicit knowledge, these things that are implied internally, you can take the culmination of all these explicit experiences and understanding, and when you internalize them, it's going to develop these new things so that when you go into a new situation, your implicit knowledge, what you understand about how to handle yourself, your character, your tone, all of these other things, or how to use a new tool, you're going to be able to call upon all those explicit experiences to build up this implicit knowledge to handle these new novel things in your life. You tracking on this?
Well, I would say that implicit knowledge, let's look at programming, for example. We always think we're going to go out and explicitly do X, Y, and Z when we're programming.
This is good,
but,
yeah.
But what really happens is you have implicit other things that, get into the picture.
Yeah, because as you're trying to solve something on the external, and you think, I will take these explicit rules and instructions to create this thing, which usually do develop something. But when you're creating something new, it has to have something implicit internally, something new and novel. There's an adjustment, a refinement that is occurring internally within you, Mark, to solve and create or program whatever this new thing would be.
That's the hardest part.
Because if it was totally explicit, correct, in software development, if it was totally explicit, there would be no new software to develop.
It would be like constructing a house or something.
Yeah.
Which it's not like that. People don't realize that. They think they're building a house. If you're going out to do software, you're not building a house, where you have a blueprint where every single nail and screw and, everything is explicit, right?
Yeah.
It's not that way, although people think it is.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's important to look at these two different types of knowledge, but balance them in yourselves. And for us, we get to learn about those things. And so, say in the future, when we have another child, we have so much implicit knowledge,
right,
that it's almost like a new platform to evolve with this new child when the new child is born, right? And then you get to share new things. Everything about the human being changes. Nothing can exist without some sort of counterpart, right? So if you have external knowledge, you have to have internal. If you have explicit, you have to have implicit.
So, our country's in a really, I consider it's in grave danger.
Why?
What do you think?
Have you been hanging out in Aurora, Colorado? What's your deal?
What's going on there?
Oh, you haven't seen the gangs that have taken over that motel or hotel and are just sort of wrecking the town?
I've heard this is happening in other places too, where they're just breaking in to these homes.
They're breaking in with a lot of weapons.
Yeah, like with AK-47s and stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. I'm sure the Hell's Angels is on their way. They should have a blast with that.
This is my belief. I believe, and this is very political for me to say this.
Go for it.
I believe the people on the left are really just Marxists and communists.
Okay.
And I think Kamala and Tim Walz, and they're going to return this nation into a tyranny if we don't watch it. I mean, I know that's very, very right-ish of me to say that, but go ahead, comment.
I would say that, what's the term? Talking heads? Or, yeah, they're not only talking heads, they're figureheads. And they'll say whatever they can drum up as the total polar opposite of their competition's narrative. And so if it sounds totally fucking insane and ultra woke and completely backwards and illogical and borderline
insane,
yeah, then guess what? It is. And when those people have the opportunity to act upon it, they probably will, under the initiative that they were guides that they get everyone else around them to support this weird, sick, delusional narrative that they seem to be wrapped up in for whatever reason. People will say anything to get anything, Mark.
I think free speech is under great danger of being eradicated.
Think about the new elements of like diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you are in some sort of public setting or a government-run area and you disagree with someone's pronouns or elements of diversity, equity, inclusion, they scold you, they shut you up, they kick you out, they fire you.
Right.
And it's really funny that under the instance that you don't like somebody's pronouns, okay, well, they'll fire back equally and character defame you as some sort of person who is insensitive to them.
Right.
It's really a sick, vicious, twisted fucking cycle that these people have come together. And I don't entertain that stuff because to me it's mental instability at the highest order.
Good point. Very good point. As long as we can hold on to our free speech. There were some things that I could have brought up for the show today that I kind of just thought it would, be good to steer away from a little bit. But I don't know.
Mark,
anyway,
you're here on the air, right?
Do what?
You're here on the air.
Oh, we're on the air now, yeah.
This is my point. Say whatever the hell you want. That's the whole point of the free speech.
Free speech, right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And if you say something stupid, then someone will correct it and they'll learn from it. Hopefully you do too. And if you say something smart, many people will learn from it.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. You know what? I'm still amazed at this Contact Report 5.
You like 5? You're going
where Semyase says, they have indeed already been weakened too much and become addicted to unreality.
Yeah.
To still be able to recognize and digest honest undiplomacy as truth. So, I've been thinking about this for months now.
What people live it, Mark.
I know.
If they look at the news, they're like emotionally torn by it. They're completely consumed. It's exactly what was wanted. When you're so removed from the self, all you can do is focus on the external. And so it's very easy at that point because you have no internal control measures for somebody else to control you externally. You follow?
But this would have had to have been in the 70s then, right?
Yeah, and has it changed? Has it changed?
It has gotten worse. It's become more obvious, at least to me. When I first read this many years ago, I was not aware of the significance of it.
Yeah.
It seems to be becoming... See, because what I see is people, they can't even interact with their coworkers because they're so distracted by their cell phone. Have you seen this kind of thing?
I will go to a restaurant and I'll see a whole family sitting there on their cell phones, not even talking. It's like, why'd you even go out to eat?
Exactly.
I don't understand. They're missing the sunrises and sunsets. They're missing opportunities to learn from one another. They are removing themselves from nature in some respects, right? They're just not paying attention. They're not paying attention to what's important. And for them, so external, so influenced by, devices like this.
Yeah.
It is very easy to get caught in spirals of algorithms and short attention spans and, deeply material things. But they don't last. They last as long as that phone will until you upgrade it. That's it. And they go deeper and deeper and deeper into these things. Like when I see people in groups saying, hey, look at this funny video. It's like, why are you all conversing to look at something online to share that around? Why can't you just have a conversation with some novel thoughts yourself?
Yes.
I don't know.
And I think what you said there, missing sunrise and sunset, that is profound. That's a profound statement.
Well, they are.
Right? Yeah. It's so weird. You can't even hold a conversation with them. It's hard unless you talk to them about what they're looking at.
The attention doesn't last at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of gone. And why do you think people get so bored and they're like, oh, I need to get a dog. I need a pet. Oh, I need to get pregnant. I got to do all these things. I need something else. It's like you are missing something internal, deep internal, and you are trying to fill it with things on the outside, and you are pulling even living beings into your life because of your lack of emotional control and self-awareness and understanding of who you are. And then what? You think you're going to take care of these things that you are bringing in around your environment, into your locale? Not a fucking chance. You can't take care of yourself. You can't manage your own thoughts. You are damaging thoughts that are so internal, so out of control, so negative, so lacking, so needing, that you try to fill it with these material things, and you bring other life forms into it. That is just selfish at the highest order. So, Semyase said they have indeed already
been weakened too much and become addicted to unreality
Yeah.
to still be able to recognize and digest honest undiplomacy as the truth. This was a big learning thing for me too, because all my life I've always been trying to be diplomatic and
Mm-hmm.
always presenting the truth, which is absolutely never going to work. Now I know that. It took me Billy Meyer or Semyase or who
Both of
to
them.
correct me. Both of them, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
When you speak the truth, it's not meant to be diplomatic. It's just meant to be the truth. And it's going to fucking suck for the people that have to hear it because they don't want to hear it. They'd rather you be diplomatic and beat around the bush and not directly speak about a topic. But the most important thing you do is directly speak about that topic truthfully. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and everybody else's time. You're inhibiting their evolution and your own. Why would you ever do something like that? It's nonsense.
Right.
What? Because you're worried about how they'll feel because you're sharing something truthful? Most of the time when you bring something up that's truthful, and you can say it with tact, but at least you say it truthfully, it's going to sting for people. They don't want to hear it. And it's going to suck. They've been avoiding this specific thing you've just brought up, but you've brought it up. And if they can't reconcile with it, that's for them. But you to be able to speak about it, to understand it, to go into depth about specific topics that are really truthful and beneficial, that's fantastic. You should continue to do it. Sink your teeth into those things. Do not stop doing it. But the world, they will twist in the heat of your words. And that's what it's all about, Mark. It is not to let things be cool and stagnant, right?
There's no way to avoid all of the conflict.
You don't. Why would you? It's what it is, right? You
It
can't
can be uncomfortable sometimes.
But peace cannot occur without a little bit of conflict, right?
Yeah.
You can't have an idea of what peace is if you don't know what conflict is. I'm not talking about armed conflict.
Right.
Talk about conflicting ideas, right? How about that sort of conflict?
Yeah. So, are we losing the ability to hold a conversation? I think.
Yes, of
I
course.
think so too.
Most people can't hold their own thoughts. They can't hold one specific thought. Then, like you, Mark, you listen to me speak. I know you want to say the next thing, but you also have to take the time to process what's going on, what is being said here.
Right.
So you've learned a skill to listen, take what I'm saying, readjust what you thought you were going to respond with, but still carry it forward so that the narrative makes sense. Many people can't do that. They don't know how to do it. Oh, hey, how you doing? Well, they don't really give a shit, but they ask, and then, okay, it's on to the next topic. Or if somebody reaches out to you, but then they're immediately talking about themselves. There's not a balance in the conversation between both of those entities sharing something, an experience together that's actually beneficial. Many people in their conversations just are talking about self. It's so much ego that it's not really a conversation. They just want someone to listen to them brain dump bullshit 30-second thoughts on them that really have no weight or value. Then the other person gets exhausted. I'm like, I don't want to talk to this person. This is too much. I can't emotionally invest myself into this.
What I've learned to do is write down what I want to say. Like sometimes if a person's speaking, I try not to interrupt them. Sometimes I still do, but I hold back, write down what it is, what I think I want to say, and then present that information. So that gives you the ability to slow down a little bit and create a train of thoughts, step by step.
Yeah, train, not a train wreck.
Yeah, not a train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
So, and anyway, that's just something that I've
it's a good skill, Mark.
Yeah, it's been very helpful.
But you have having that sort of continuity of thought, because you know what you want to discuss, but you can adjust to all the nuances of speaking with me and the things I bring up, but still bring it back into the original track of what you're trying to talk about.
I feel like somebody is trying to create a generation of zombies.
Yeah, it's easy. Why not?
I mean, I'm not sure who. Is it the globalists? That is the people at the very top? I don't know. But it seems like a generation of zombies are being created, people that can't even hold a conversation. I feel bad for them. I'm not putting them down. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. Look, everybody's a human being. They all have a piece of energy of creation inside of them that allows them to exist and evolve. Now they make choices. Most of them make all of their own choices. Other ones make choices that they're not aware that they're the ones making the choices. And other ones are just easily influenced because they don't know how to make choices. So they'll let people do it for them. Those people get sucked up into what is the next best thing. What is easiest? What reduces risk? What gets it to me quicker? To me, that's more of a zombie. That's like that WALL-E world. You ever seen the movie WALL-E by Pixar?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's an animated film, but you see that these people are floating around on these, levitating beds, and they're in complete recline, and they're always slurping down a drink, and they have a screen completely in front of their face, and they don't recognize their world. But for them, it's, I get my food, it's efficient, I'm relaxed, I have no stress on my body, I can do these things. But really, what is occurring? They're stagnating their evolution in total.
This is called WALL-E World?
No, just WALL-E, WALL-E, I think.
Oh my gosh, this is incredible.
You should watch the film. It has actually a good amount of impact. But the element here, when you ask,
hits home a little bit. It hits all of us probably to a degree. Yeah. I've probably been that WALL-E person too.
What it is, Mark, what it boils down to is just a severe addiction to technology that's not really beneficial for people.
Oh.
And you become a zombie to the technology because you're so addicted to it. Like, what happens when the heroin needle goes right in the arm? People become zombies. I don't care if it's heroin, fentanyl, whatever.
Wow.
You become driven and controlled by the drug, for that period of time. And if you become super addicted to it, it just starts to define your life as a whole. Now, to me, lack of thought, addiction to technology, that's a zombie, right? That's just a waste of a life altogether. Addiction to technology is just as much as addiction to any other sort of drug. There's no difference between it. The brain receives it the same, but your ability to receive doses of things from technology, which hit those dopamine receptors and give you those 5-second bursts, are the same sort of thing you get from just, doing a row, just like a line of cocaine, whatever it may be.
Wow.
Now, for people, I don't have to sell drugs. I can sell algorithms. But in the people that do sell them, it's commercially viable for them. They like making the money, so they're going to do it over and over. Not that they want to control the world. It's just economically beneficial for them because they care more about cash than they do about human value. I met some of the people that had invented the idea of gamification.
Well, now explain that.
When you go to download an app and they're like, this is the level you're at and keep doing more or share more photos or whatever. And it says, oh, you've progressed, whatever.
Oh, is that the
we'll
latest?
Give you rewards.
That's what they're doing now.
Yeah, so the ones that created gamification wish they never did it. And I will give it to them. They want to unwind it because they realized how damaging it is. They had worked with all of these professionals, in the psychological and medical field to figure out where are those centers that get people to do things. What are those triggers? And then how do we take that and put it into a technological format and keep them hooked? Like the world's most mobile casino, always in the palm of your hand. And they put that into applications to drive up this thing called engagement. But it became such a poisonous tool because you could use these gamification engagement mechanisms, but use it on shit technology. It's not like you're gamifying things that are beneficial for people's learning and understanding. That wasn't occurring. It's like, no, let's put it into things like Candy Crush or, whatever other crap is on there. Oh, Grubhub, buy 5 more meals, we'll give you this coupon. Like, no. Absolutely stop doing that. What are you doing? You're exacerbating these issues. You're creating addiction cycles because of this idea of gamification. But the people who invented it, right, are hopefully trying to unwind it, but they don't realize they opened up such a nasty can of worms, they can't stop it. Everybody uses it. The principles are used everywhere. And so now what you see is people get inundated and addicted to crap. Totally valueless nonsense. All the way from the left to the right field, and everything in between, they're addicted to it, like these zombies you talk about, Mark. And the brain atrophies its ability to think. Everything about itself, the neurons don't fire as well because you're only tacking on to one area that's lighting up in the brain rather than the whole thing. Because the only feeling comes from the attachment to the 5-second hit in the dopamine receptor rather than dealing with new and novel things, having real conversations, not being that zombie, going out and actually testing the experience of your life and truly learning new things. But those things don't exist. But we gamify these dopamine centers, right, in the brain. And it happens, and that's why people are so addicted to these things. Why is it a bell? Why is it when you got a message or a notification on your phone, why is it that they chose the bell?
They interrupt you.
It wasn't a hum. It wasn't nothing. They chose a bell, the one damn thing that's been around for humanity for so long to get our attention, even the attention of cattle, for goodness sakes, in a field, is a bell. Everything they're doing is that interruption. Look at me. Look at this. I want to give you something. And then you compound that on people reaching out to you to say, oh, I'm getting text messages. The more bells I get, the more popular I feel, the more needed I feel. You're building up this self-fulfilling cycle of bullshit that's occurring. So people can't have real conversations. It's strange. You'll interact with somebody for 20 minutes and you're like, wow, that sucked. But then they go to text you and they're like, man, this person's really good at text, and they tell some good stories. It's like, what is missed? Why is the human interaction so atrophied? But when it comes to using the device, these people are like professionals at it. Like, why are you throwing an emoji at me? I didn't see you smile once in the 20 minutes I was standing here with you having the conversation. What is this? You know? Smoke and mirrors, man.
There was a program I saw, and the guest on the show was a Navy SEAL, and he was a professional poker player.
Oh, yeah.
I think his first name was Dan. I can't remember. But he made millions of dollars playing online poker.
Sure.
And I just thought that, what a strange lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, your income comes from the computer, but playing a game.
It's a new thing, man. They call it esports.
Esports?
Yeah, esports, electronic sports, whether it be poker as a sport, or
poker's a sport?
Video gaming, they all pay big money.
Oh, man. You talk about being addicted.
Yeah.
I used to play many years ago, I used to play those flight simulators.
Love flight simulator.
Yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
You can play against each other in a military situation too.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to fly.
Yeah, exactly. What do you want to fly? An F-16, an F-4, an F-15? What do you want? Yep. And I used to be addicted to that, but I think this poker thing is a whole nother level, because when I was doing it, there was no money to be made.
Yeah. See what happens? So now you start to put in this world of gamification, and you put the money to be made on things which are really valueless.
Valueless.
Not good, man. Not good. I recently published a paper kind of on this.
Yeah, I was going to say we should do that, or somebody should.
I wrote a paper on this. It's called Future Sands. You could probably find it somewhere online. It's 11 pages, probably worth reading. 11
pages. Wow.
Nothing crazy.
You did a lot of research.
Yeah, that's probably like the maximum extent I can ask for interested parties' attention on it anyway. I'll share
go ahead.
it with
Continue.
Well, my point is, I talk about this material addiction. It's a bullshit. Where it started, what the first real technology was, and how that couples with the issues with our population density. And I've shown that over time, the consciousness of the planet really hasn't developed, especially with the advent of all this incredible technology we have. There actually really hasn't been a substantial development in the consciousness itself. Why? Well, we're still killing each other. The planet's still getting hotter. We haven't solved our core issues. Mental health is still a massive, massive issue that's on the rise. Epidemics are happening, or pandemics happen more frequently. Starvation is still a constant nuisance.
Well, let me ask you one thing real quick. Sorry to interrupt. As population density goes up, does mental health go down?
Sure. What happens is, and I talk about this, there are pressures that are created by vast amounts of people occupying specific spaces. You can see it in cattle or animals. When their living quarters are shrunk beyond what's normative to them, what's helpful, they start to kick, they start to nip, they start to cannibalize each other. Now, these very basal instincts, because of these pressures that are occurring, are pushing the what I would say the defense mechanisms up that really don't need to be there if someone's in a healthy, natural, well-spaced, not overcrowded environment. And the thoughts can be processed at a decent speed and not be inundated with a bunch of other shit that other people are having. Now, you see that mental health, as the amount of available resources for people go down, the amount of employment goes down, the ability for people to access things which would be beneficial for their life, even access to healthcare, it becomes prohibitively more difficult when the population densities are that much greater because the wait times are greater. And then people lose all hope in the ability to get to the things they need. And what happens is those pressures start to eat them alive. Now, if you couple that with poor weather systems or immense heat, now you have outside ecosystem or environmental pressures that are collapsing down like an oven on millions and millions of people in concentrated areas. And it creates this nasty sort of rub. So you get friction of environment and friction of mind. And then you have friction of living space. So as these population densities mix, what happens is these problems continue to exacerbate. And these people are adopting technology and everything else at such disgusting rates that they don't know if it's good or damaging to them. There's no way to test it because you just wait for the next damn thing to show up for you to adopt instantaneously in the hopes that it will fix what's currently going on in your life.
So what about, where does illegal immigration fall into all of this?
Well, think about it. You have these pressures. You have resource draws. You have environmental disasters that are occurring, making it also very difficult for people to live in their countries, and they're not solving their own problems. So what are they going to do? They're going to push themselves to the next best place, wherever the narrative has seen, come here, this is where you live the better life.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know,
So
coming to us, we got a pronoun problem over here. Like, don't come here. Trust me. You know? If you don't want your kid to identify as a rabbit, don't come across the border. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but all these things are occurring because we live on a closed system, Mark. It's a globe. It's a planet floating around in the cosmos, in the darkness of this universe. And so what are we doing? If you take from somewhere, it's also taking from somebody else. It's not an unlimited resource pool.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And there's a whole lot we don't understand still. You know,
Of
even the
course.
basics of our planet, like
people don't understand that there's more water in the crust of the earth than there actually is in the ocean. So then they're like, what are you talking about? That's impossible. I can see it. No. And then, do you know how much shit I got for doing a podcast, you know, I forget how many months back, saying that we've pumped out so much groundwater out of the earth, it's like throwing off the earth's axis.
Is that true?
Oh, the amount of hate I got online for that was just amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
You must have scared some people.
Do you think I'm the one that did the studies? No. Go take it out on the scientists then.
It literally has done that?
Yes, of course. Mark, think about it.
I didn't know that.
You know how they have ballast in ships? You know what ballast is? Great.
Yeah,
great.
thing.
The Earth has the same thing. And it's been distributed evenly for so much time. Now when you have city centers of 16 million plus people sucking up water, it has to come from somewhere. You're displacing it from the natural substrata which it resided in. So over here we have this thing called the Rio Grande Aquifer and two other aquifers that run together. Okay?
Wow.
What is going on? It's the desert. And they keep building homes out here. Where do you think more water is going to come from as the atmosphere is heating up? They're pulling it out of the ground. And then when it comes out of the ground, Mark, it goes into a house. People use it. They do their watering. It runs through their toilets. And guess what? It goes down to the water treatment plant. And who knows how much is evaporating before it even gets there. And so what happens is you take the stuff out of the ground and then evaporate it out. And then it's gone. Pfft, you're not going to see it again. And you start to take out what essentially is this earth ballast. And it throws the earth off. Just like this. So we take all this water out and then we're blowing up nukes on our planet and then all these other stresses that are occurring, it's thrown off our tilt, our wobble, our axis, the precession of the earth. Our days change, our weather patterns change, right? All of those things. And then You take that with an increase in the population just creating all this methane and carbon dioxide. It's a terrible route that we're taking, but we don't see it. But people continue to build for these economic purposes. Why? Because there's so many fucking people that need housing. Great, keep building. Yeah, but at what cost?
Yeah. You know, when I went to Arizona, when I went to Munns Park, when I visited, the Meyer people, one thing, the flight that I took, we either landed in Las Vegas or went over Las Vegas.
Yep.
But the one thing that stuck in my mind is this place will be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot survive.
No.
It gets everything it needs from other places.
Have you seen Lake Mead? Is that what it's called?
Is it empty? Is it like dried out? Is it?
I went there 4 years ago and then 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Shocked at the hundreds of thousands of gallons of water gone. Not there. You can see the water line drop, and it's more and more pathetic. And
how far away
disheartening.
from Las Vegas is that?
That is what feeds Las Vegas.
No kidding. So
I'm
it's
almost
there.
positive it's called Lake Mead, unless my memory does not serve me correctly.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. It's right there in front of us, but we ignore it. We're blind. Just completely irresponsible in our decision making. It's remarkable how fucking stupid people can really be. It shocks me sometimes. It's careless. And what you're doing is you're not just harming yourself. You're harming everybody else. It's just as dangerous as pointing a gun at someone as taking away their water. You're not being conscious of the interconnectedness of your decision making. It's so fundamentally dangerous the way we have stagnated our evolution. We're not thinking. But what we're doing is we're sure fucking because there's a lot of people. We're certainly not thinking, but we're buying more. And to see the boats driving on the lake.
Still.
Stop. Let's just
still
poison
out
what
there.
is left of this small water resource here in the desert. You idiots.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Dr. Strange's?
Dr. Strange?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He was a sheriff. He also had a PhD in theology, and he was a contactee.
Okay.
And
Never heard of him.
we'll have to go. I got his book over there. Anyway, talking about Lake Mead, he said there was a guy. I know it sounds ridiculous.
I like
me saying-
ridiculous stuff.
Okay. His name was Val Thor. He supposedly lived underneath the surface of Venus, and he brought a group of people with him. I guess they came from Venus. They landed their ship by Lake Mead, and it was, invisible. They made it invisible. Anyway, they would talk with Dr. Strange's and about the things that were going to happen in the future if we didn't change X, Y, and Z. And it's interesting. They were.
What
by
did they
this,
say to
like-
change?
Well, the first thing that they were going to help us with our medical system, because we were destroying ourselves with our medical stuff. It was crazy. And then they were also going to try to get us to stop producing nuclear weapons. That was the other big thing that they were trying. The book is called Stranger at the Pentagon. This guy, Val Thor, supposedly actually visited the Pentagon and spent like a year there or 2 years there. Of course, our politicians wouldn't do anything that he said to do. But it's an interesting story. I mean, it probably sounds like craziness, but you like craziness like me. I like crazy.
I like the values that they're talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a really interesting book. It's called Stranger at the Pentagon. It's up in my bookshelf up there.
Mm,
It'll bring tears to your eyes. I'll tell you, it's very emotional.
I like that. I really do like that.
It was to me anyway. Because, I mean, you can see we're destroying everything. So Lake Mead is down to about nothing now.
Down to about nothing. It's just shameful, dude. It's really shameful.
How do they launch their boats on?
There's a marina, but
there's still a marina there, so
yeah.
There's
just a really long cement pad, to get down to where the water is.
Yeah, that's dangerous. That's hard to do. It's hard to put a boat in and out under those kind of conditions. Do they have traffic jams when they pull the?
Don't know.
Okay, so you're not a boater per se.
No, I do know boating. I can drive and dock a ship, no problem.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You were on a roll there.
No, you're not interrupting me. It's just so much is so obvious.
It's overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, and
it's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes.
Well, there's not going to be much water coming out of that fire hose soon, I'll tell you that.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I have to laugh at that.
I want people to pause for a moment and just pay attention. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. Most people are like, I'm a good human being. I do good things. Okay. Are you thinking about, truthfully, the impact of your thoughts and choices? Yeah, good in what respect? Like, I've never killed anybody. I've never gotten in a fight. Oh, yeah, great. You and 95% of the planet. But do you know what it means to live like a life that is like natural? For them, they're like, well, what do you mean natural? Well, do you understand what makes nature tick, which allows you to tick? No. Well, how do you define yourself as doing good if you don't even know what allows you to exist? And people miss that. That's the most obvious thing. Mark, they miss nature, and because they miss nature, they miss their own nature, their internal nature, their human nature. They can't see it. They're blind to it. And blind people have more blind kids doing blind things on a just frankly fucking blind planet, which is amazing because the sun comes up for 13 hours a day or whatever it is. What do you mean you can't see?
We're so lucky. We're so fortunate.
Yeah, we are lucky. I guess we are fortunate.
Yeah.
Because we have the ability to make choices, but we're making unfortunate choices.
Bad choices.
Yeah, we're creating a bad fortune for us in our future because of what we're doing. I'm not trying to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only stating specifically what is occurring. And the people are like, oh, it's so negative, I want to hear it. I'm just telling you what is going on. And the reason you want to hear it is because you've been fucking ignoring it. You don't like the sound of it. You don't like being told you've been irresponsible.
Addicted to unreality.
All the time.
Irresponsible.
All the time.
One thing came to my mind while you were talking there is I have a ton of tomatoes. Like, I've produced so many tomatoes, like, the problem is trying to eat them. There's more than I can probably eat here. And if we all worked our own gardens, can you imagine what we might accomplish just with that?
But we can't. There is not enough space or arable land to do so. And if people wanted to work their own gardens, say in major cities, we don't have enough fertilizer to support them.
Right.
You can't do it. And then what are you going to do? Wolf down a toxic fucking tomato? No. I don't want all that smog and hydrocarbons, right? And the skin of this, or the lectins in this tomato. I don't want that. You can't do it. People say, we can all grow. We can do it in the cities. We can solve this together. No, you can't. Because clearly you don't understand how growth works. You don't understand what fertilizer is. You don't understand what poisons are in the atmosphere. You don't understand it's not going to work for you. Oh, and by the way, how much meat did you eat last week? 20 out of 21 meals were meat only. How many vegetables did you eat? Well, are you going to be bringing cattle into New York City to solve your issue? No. What are you going to do? Have 1,000 tomatoes? I doubt it. You're probably going to get tired of it. It doesn't work, Mark.
Well, I wasn't thinking of the cities. You bring up a very good point there. I mean, the cities, yeah, it's impossible.
But that's where all the populations are, in droves. That's
We
where
have
everybody
to
sits, in
reduce
deep
the population.
concentrations.
Mm.
Just slow stuff down. Just pause. Chill. Figure it out. Be like, oh, wow, I probably shouldn't do that. That probably won't be in my best interest. How many people do that? They don't.
They don't.
They literally don't. Another line of Coke. Another paycheck at the casino. Fuck it. Whatever.
I forget which city it is. It's one of the cities in China. It has 40 lanes of traffic circling it. We'll have to do some studies on population if you're interested. It's hard though. It's overwhelming.
It's really easy to see. Too many people sucking down too much shit. There's a line in the paper I wrote. The Earth, and I'll probably paraphrase this. The Earth creates a ton of resources. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It creates so much that it actually has surplus. All things being equal, humans excluded, the Earth creates a surplus of material. Now, it has an amount that human beings can pull from that surplus without actually pulling from the internal resource pool, which would debilitate it. We have burnt through the surplus so much that we've dipped so deep into the internal resource pool that the ability for the Earth to fill that resource pool can't do it fast enough. But what do? We created this world in these systems to say that, look at where we are. Look at how we've grown. Of course we can have more people here. Look at this great technology. Look at these things.
Yeah.
Completely blind to the fact that we have outpaced the natural rhythm and production of the Earth and its treasures. Do you follow, Mark?
Yeah. We have an unbelievable population. I forget which city it is. I wish I could remember the name of the city in China. I probably have links to the website there that showed this, like 40 lanes of traffic circling this city. We might have 4 or 5,
Yeah.
But China's on another scale.
Not even China. I mean, go to Latin America. Those cities are densely populated. It's many cities
Brazil?
in Africa. Yes, absolutely. Philippines, all those places. Deep population densities. India.
Yeah, India.
Yeah.
When they burn in India before the growing season, they have horrible, smoke everywhere. And you've probably seen that before, right?
Nope.
No?
Nope, you're teaching me.
It's a cycle that happens in India where before they plant, they have to burn out the old stuff, and it causes horrific air pollution for several months.
I would imagine.
Yeah. We got music, man. Things are working.
Wild. Love it.
That's optimistic, dude.
Yeah, it's optimistic.
I love it. Please put our link out there. This is a great show, man.
Will do.
People need to hear this.
Peace and love to everybody, all right? I'm not a hater. I'm not here for the negative. I know we're going to figure it out, but we just got to figure it out quick.